Good night, good night, good night. All right, so welcome again to another episode of Fortress Fitness Lifestyle Podcast. And tonight we have another amazing guest, and his name is Mr. Harold Diaz. And before I tell you what he's involved in, I'd rather bring him down and let us have the conversation. He can introduce himself properly and actually say exactly what he does. So, Mr. Harold, so welcome.
Yes, good night, Victor. Good night. Thank you so very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure being here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, Mr. Harold, because I know you do a lot of amazing work. All right, you out there just like me helping people in natural way, and I mean, and this podcast is really to really send a message out there, see how we can help the public based on the proper information, the right information, most importantly, and ways they can reach out to people like yourself in order to really seek to get the help that they need, because as you rightfully know, there's a lot of misinformation and there's a lot of people out there need the help but they don't know where to go and how to get it. So they tune into this podcast where they could get a proper guide and things that I do, whether it's a magazine or symposium or what I do. That's really to send the message out there to reach the people who really need the help on this platform. So welcome again, and I hope you had a blessed day today. And so Mr. Diaz, just tell us, brief the viewers, exactly what you are involved in, what you do.
Well, I'm involved in quite a few things. Sometimes it's described as biting off a bit more than you could safely chew.
Yes, yes, yeah.
All right. By trade, I'm a certified blood technician.
Yeah, right.
I'm also a certified master herbalist.
Nice,
Uh,
nice.
Besides that, I get quite a lot, involved in other things, motivational speaking. I am certainly not a counselor, although I find myself doing a lot of that. Um, but I suppose one of the weight really on my shoulder is really, freelancing, reaching out to people, especially people that are dealing with what you will call terminal diseases, and it's quite a lot of, it's quite heavy, to be honest, Victor, because what happens is that a lot of the people that I deal with really doesn't have finances. And I
Yeah.
suppose that makes life difficult because of the fact that finances is necessary in this world to really make an impact. But God is so good that whatever little these people are able to contribute, it always turns out to be enough.
Yes, yeah.
And it is a mission definitely that I want to expand on. I want to be able to do more, and I want to be able to not just help people from the aspect of doing stuff for them, but to be able to actually teach people how to help themselves as well as how to help others.
Yes, yes.
Unfortunately, what happens to people like us, just a few things that happen with people like us, if we're not careful. And one of the unfortunate things that happen is what's called burnout. As I said,
And
this thing about not being able to comfortably chew the amount that you're biting off, it's an area where I try to take the utmost care, because I'm not single. I'm a married man. I have children, and they also demand a lot of time,
yeah.
So I always have to find innovative ways of getting the work done, but at the same time, not putting myself in a position where burnout becomes imminent, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So Another thing that basically happens is that I am not really big on advertising, because when you start advertising, sometimes you attract the wrong you
Yes,
attract attention from the wrong places.
yes,
Yeah, so I have learned from some of my mentors from the past. One of those biggest mentors actually being Dr. Sebi. I don't, I would think that you would definitely know about Dr. Sebi.
yes, I do.
Yeah, and it was a sad ending, but nevertheless, he has taught me a few things as to how not to do certain things. All right, so, but then again, it's a bit of a big subject.
Yes, it is a
All
big
right, but
subject.
I suppose there's a lot that could be said, but I definitely want to, as much as possible, take advantage of the time that we have. And I would like to make this podcast as meaningful as possible. You know, I want to be able to give information where, you know, I'm able to, but, information that is going to be useful. So instead
Yeah.
of, I suppose, continuing, talking and going on and on and on and on, let's try to make this as meaningful as possible tonight, Victor.
Right. So what I would say, Harold, is that every time I have podcasts, the guests and myself, we really just make it interesting because it's always somebody in a field that really can add value to one's health, especially as you mentioned, the people who can afford certain kind of you know payment when coming to their health, right? Because when you check the society, a lot of people are unwell, and a lot of them actually don't have the finances to treat the illness or the lifestyle diseases that they have. Hence the reason why you see in in public hospital so many people waiting there for hours seeking medical attention because they don't have other means of paying for the services that they would want in other places is that most likely we call private. And it's amazing for me to hear you say that you want to help as much people as you can. I mean, it's something I say myself. I go around the country and talk to people, keep symposium, all that I do, and it's really to help people. I often say this is a life saving mission I'm on, right? Because the information is important, right? And one of the things I want to ask you is that why it is that you said that first of all, you do so many stuff, right? Is a man of many trades and talent based on what I'm seeing there. And I would admire you for the work that you've been doing, and I would have heard that you're doing great work. And that's why you're here tonight on this podcast, where we try to help as much many people that we can with the information that we spread and the guests that I have on the podcast, right? And you are a herbalist, but first thing I want to ask, what made you get into to that part of it, being a herbalist. And I know you mentioned Dr. Sebi, and I understand the whole story with Dr. Sebi. Trust me, right? I've learned, I've read, I've listened, and I know why it ended that way because the world have a different opinion on things that the idea and the narrative that what you practice actually, right? But what make you really get into that? Is it Dr. Sebi, or is really to help people who really cannot afford the services, or what I will call it is you write services to help them. What do you think?
Well, my inspiration was again, there's two sides of it. Let me start with me first of all. I I used to work at the Asa Wright Nature Center years ago. I was actually one of their naturalists. So I would take people from all over the world out into the forest. Most people were interested in birds and butterflies, but there were also like off seasons when you wouldn't find much birds, you wouldn't find much butterflies. And what I started doing was basically talking about plants, only to recognize that people that were generally interested in birds and butterflies were also very interested in plants. And that actually spawned, you know, uh, desire in me to study plants so that I will be able to have information to share with these people, I suppose, when I couldn't find enough birds and stuff. But
Yeah.
it started off from wanting to have the information to share, only to recognize that these plants also have medicinal properties.
Nice. Yes.
And I started delving into the medicinal properties of plants, only to recognize that the people that I was administering this information to were actually becoming more and more interested. You know? So that basically spawned, that desire. It was mainly to not to treat people, but mainly to have information, to sound intelligent, to be able to please the crowd that I was, administering to. And later on, that actually developed into a situation where I started treating myself for
Okay.
certain issues that I was having. Then I
Yeah.
recognized that it was actually working. So I started to recommend it to others.
Mm-hmm.
And they were basically complementing the remedies that was being given. And eventually that spawned a desire to want to take it further. So eventually I enrolled at the Trinity School of Natural Health, and I decided that, you know what, I'm definitely going to take this as far as I could take it.
Nice.
And that is how it started. And eventually being a master herbalist wasn't enough. Before being a master herbalist, I was a qualified certified blood technician. So
Yeah.
I would work with the Eden Heights Clinic within Navarro's. I would do the blood work.
Yeah.
I still work with the Eden Heights Clinic. I still do the blood work pretty much for them. But when herbology took over, that was it. It was a real powerful pull, And over a period of time, I started to recognize that, should I say that, just a good feeling in being
Yeah,
able to use the gift that God has given to bless others.
Yes. Yes.
And after COVID, and even during COVID, it was a real game changer there for me. Because what happened was that a lot of people lost their jobs. People who used to make money by hustling, they lost their hustle. There was a lot of stress. There were people that couldn't afford certain medications that they were on. And I suppose that I was in a position to actually help in these situations. And up to today, that situation hasn't really changed much. There's a lot of people that has been defranchised from COVID, and
Yes.
they have not really gotten back on that horse, even up to this day. A lot of suffering people. I'm also a Seventh-day Adventist, by the way.
And that's good,
And-
actually. Good.
Yeah. And one of the things that we believe strongly in is that God gives us gifts and talents not to serve ourselves, but really to serve our fellow men.
Correct.
So, yeah, as a result, again, understanding that, it has been really, really helpful for me, to really push into this direction, to get to the point whereby, I don't worry about whether or not a person's, finances could reach what I might consider what my services are worth.
Yes.
All right. But instead, I recognize that there are countless blessings that doesn't carry a dollar sign. You know, these people, they never forget you. All right. I will go to any part of the country, and I will always find somebody that knows me, even if I've never seen them. All right. I would always find somebody that knows my name, you know, and they would actually call me by name, and I'll be looking at them and I'll be talking to them as if I've known them for years. But the reality is, I don't have a clue who it is, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
to me, it's a blessing, you know,
Yeah.
to have a good reputation, you know.
Yeah, it is a blessing, and you know, the reason why I asked that before we dive into whatever topic we dive in tonight is that you know most of the people, if not all of the persons who came on the podcast, I recognize based on what they do is a passion for what they do, and it's very rare in this world today people doing things and they're not putting money first. It's either you pay me or you keep your sickness and try to help. And that only could happen to somebody who believe in God and somebody who know that hey, the true purpose of we as human here, right? So the mere fact you use a Seventh-day Adventist and the values and principles of that faith in particularly, which should be in all faith, whereby we are here to save others, not ourselves. And when you say that, you hit a nerve because I too grew up in that faith, my whole family in that religion, right? So I know and I practice that not the religion to say now, but the relationship with God, not taking anything away from the religion or anything, right? And so the passion that you have to do what you do, you would have recognized the blessings is not just your blessings is not on earth here, right? Because we all could get a little mixed up. How the world going now, everybody want everything now, and they feel if you can give me something, I'm not doing anything, right? So I'm really glad to really hear that, and it's really inspiring to hear you speak like that. It just make this interview or this podcast more interesting for me, a man who really just try each and every day to walk closer to God, right? And separately, the topic today, I think, one of the things that really, you know, looking up our people now, I mean, there are a couple of things. It's based on lifestyle, but we could touch probably diabetes, type 2. Yeah, we could probably touch on that, to just, bring some clarity in the sense of the natural side of it, based on the work that you do, what you have seen out there, and some of the things that you would have done with people in that who have that lifestyle disease or any other lifestyle disease or any kind of disease at all, fatal or not fatal, that you treat based on any practices you do that you could give us today, and people can know where. Hey, let's look for Harold. Harold is the man to go to. you know.
Well, that's a big subject. It's also a very misunderstood subject. It's a subject that has a lot of misinformation. And I think what happens also is that it's a subject that, or should I say, it's a lifestyle disease that really leaves you open to every other lifestyle disease. For instance, if you are diabetic, you are, I would say, 50 times more open to heart disease. All right?
Okay.
You are 50 times more open to cancer. All right? You are probably 60 or 70 times more open to nerve damage. Thyroid issue, you name it. All right. But yet, what you have to understand is that diabetes really is a disease that could be beaten, even if it is that Western medicine says that it is incurable. As a matter of fact, I don't think there's anything that is curable if you decide to go at it from the point of Western medicine. They have
Correct.
an entire list of
Yes. Yes.
uncurable diseases. So sometimes I wonder what's really the point? Why are you running, a global program that really and truly can't cure anybody? But yet you insist that there is no other way. But let's talk a little bit about diabetes. And I want to tell you something here that is groundbreaking, but it is also information that the powers that be will not share with you. If it is you are diabetic, one of the first steps that you should make is basically understand the glycemic index of all foods. All right? I don't care what it is. You need to understand the glycemic index of all foods. The foods that you're going to be eating will be, again, fruits, vegetables, all of your grains and beans and stuff like that. That's pretty much what you're going to be eating, because diabetes, if you really want to overcome diabetes, you're going to have to throw every bit of processed foods out the window. All right? You cannot eat processed foods and overcome diabetes. Your aim should not be managing a disease. Your aim should actually be eradicating a disease. And I am speaking from the point of view of eradicating a disease, not managing a disease. All right? When you understand the glycemic index of foods, what you will understand is the foods that are best for overcoming diabetes. Okay? And if you do this right, I'm going to give you 1 week to take control of your blood sugar, possibly without any medication whatsoever. Or should I say without any drugs whatsoever. Because there are fruits that has a pretty low glycemic index that you could eat. You're going to be eating mostly vegetables, because vegetables by nature has a very low glycemic index. You are going to be able to have your beans and stuff like that, but you really want to understand the glycemic index of these foods. Okay? And one of the things that really beats people over the head is when they start thinking that my life is now going to be boring because I cannot eat anything tasty. But that's a misconception. There are three categories that everybody that eats, that the foods that you eat have to meet. 3 categories. And you could achieve these 3 categories regardless of your condition. So in other words, if you are diabetic, most people think, well, okay, as a diabetic, I have to eat all of my food steamed. All right? And this is what a lot of people do. You know, they will come to me and they will say, well, okay, I'm diabetic. And we start talking about, okay, so what do you eat? How do you prepare these foods? And in most cases, what they're basically eating is steamed foods or boiled foods. How tasty is that? And I'll say to them, no, you're going to fail. Because eventually what's going to happen is that your digestive system will fail. In order for your digestive system to function properly, the food has to be appealing.
Yeah.
Digestion starts in the mouth. And if you put something in there and you start chewing and it has no taste, it becomes boring, and then the mind basically starts treating it as boring. And then the body does not release the necessary enzymes and chemicals to actually enjoy the digesting of these foods. You're going to put yourself in some major trouble by thinking that here what's going on. I could only eat steamed foods. No, 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 no. So here are the three categories here, Victor. The food has to be wholesome, it has to be healthy, and it has to be tasty.
Ah,
Wholesome, healthy, tasty foods. And you could achieve these three categories regardless of your medical condition. Okay? And this is one of the things that I would encourage people to do. I will basically give them tips on how to cook without adulterating the food, all right? So that the food is tasty, but yet it has the necessary nutrition, because our body heals via nutrition,
yeah.
all right? If you don't give the body the necessary nutrition, well then, get serious. What we are doing is breaking down our system over a period of time. So we are doomed for failure. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
All right? The thing too with diabetes is that if you ever take a look at the diet sheet of a diabetic that you will receive from a hospital, yes, you're doomed for failure. A lot of the stuff on that sheet is actually high glycemic. So what they are basically doing is they are ensuring that your blood sugar would never get under control, so that you are going to continue using the drugs. You're not going to have any choice but to use the drugs that they're administering to you. And the problem with some of these drugs that they are administering to you is that you are eventually going to end up with organ failure. One of the organs that gets beaten really badly from these drugs is the kidneys. All right? The kidneys takes a lot of beating from these drugs. The liver takes a lot of beating, because every single drug is actually acidic in nature. Our bodies are not acidic. We have a stomach that is acidic, all right? But our bodies are alkaline. All of our organs, except the stomach, is actually alkaline. And if it is that we are eating acid foods, we are using acid drugs, what we are basically doing is we are poisoning our organs, we're poisoning our blood. If your constitution is not very strong, you're going to break down very quickly. If your constitution is strong, you're going to last for a longer period, but you will suffer through it. The best thing one can do is to make lifestyle changes. But the problem, again, with lifestyle changes, and I would reiterate, is that because we are destroyed for lack of knowledge, people do not understand food preparation. Food preparation becomes a task. Eating becomes, torture. And eventually, the condition of your mind is destroyed. All right? Because you will eventually concede. You'll give up. Your mind is going to go into a place where you will end up in two places. You're going to end up in a situation, number one, where I no longer care. Something has to kill me. I am going to eat what I want. Or you're going to end up on the other side, where I am now so frustrated that I don't want to live anymore. Either way, you're going to end up in a place where you don't desire to be.
Yeah.
All right. But again, if it is that we are knowledgeable in terms of our food preparation, we understand the glycemic index of foods, then what happens is that you have before you a tool that you can use, and blood sugar control becomes easier to the point whereby you get it into your psyche, you understand what you need to do, and you can finally defeat that disease. But you have to understand that you are now in a position where you have to make lifestyle changes. This is not a 3-month program and then you go back to where you were. You go back to where you were, you're going to end up right back where you started. Okay? You have to make lifestyle changes. But these changes can be fun. These changes can be worthwhile. These changes could leave you in a position where you can pump your hand and say, yes, I have the victory. I think that's where everybody wants to be. But you're not going to get there the Western way.
Well, I listen, and you speak so true, because it's things that I believe as well, because that's how I live my life, and I believe what exactly what you say about the Western way of healing, because I often say this in programs. My personal view is that is they follow a script, right? They follow a script, and the script is not to really get us better. That's my thing, and I take no fear in saying it, because that's that not just you, but people who understand how the business go. No, it's a business. It's not a business to heal you. It's to sustain you not well. I think we understand that, right? And that's why people know. I think no more than ever. I think I see there's a more interest in natural medicine than before, because I think more people like yourself is popping up and speaking that language, not just speaking it, people actually seeing results, because most of the people, not most of the people, actually all the persons that have bounced up doing what I'm doing, who would have stopped and turned back things like diabetes and high blood pressure, is people who were in natural way. The people I met who would have beat cancer, something like that. And I met a couple of people in this 3 year journey that I'm on. They went was diet and herbs. And I'm being honest with myself. And you said something about which I, you just say it, eating healthy don't taste good, right? People tend to be, gosh, I can eat, and I've heard it before. You're right, because you heard it so many times. Oh, gosh, this food boring. I rather take my pill, eat what I want and take my pill, and they take pill for 40, 30 years. And as you rightly as you say, down the road, the organs start to fail, because everybody want to get there, but nobody want to do the work, right? And that is true. So I think that is why the Western medicine now will always have so many people knocking at the door, because most people do not want to do the work, or they're not prepared to do the work, and it's easier to just pop a pill outside of making that lifestyle change and eating the things that you would recommend for them, and making the change that you recommend. Because this is the first time someone I met, or the natural side would have said that, hey, you can prepare the food as well that is healthy and make it taste good, because you connected the mind, the mouth, right, and the hands, which is makes sense, because if the mouth tastes, if something is tasting good, you know what has happened. That signal going to the mind is like, nah, I want that, and that's why, again, that's why my magazine is 40% lifestyle magazine, is a lifestyle change, because I do agree with you. The same way they call it, these lifestyle disease a lifestyle disease, because it's how the lifestyle you live, is the same way you will preach to them to say, you know what, which again I believe is that, hey, you have to make a change now, because the habits that the lifestyle you live 10 or 15 years ago, you're reaping now. You're reaping the benefit of eating all this processed food. You're reaping the benefit of just eating carelessly, drinking carelessly. So here we are. So therefore, you have to make another change in mid age, and most people not willing to even try. Most people rather. I have someone I know. They take a medication for high blood pressure pill for 20 years. They tell me, I said 20 years, right? I mean, that's what I know. But again, I told her, I mean, I say I'm not a doctor, but I believe that your body, that like a vitamin to your body. No, because 20 years is a lot, right? So the thing about it is, how do we get, Harold? How do we get you out there in the field? Is it education? Is it being out there in people's face? How do we get people to understand that the what you've been told about getting rid of this disease is not true, and the right way to go is what God put in the earth, is in the field, is in the plants, is in the flowers is out there. Because I say I rather eat carbs from the I not rather I do eat carbs only from the field, right? I try to get my vitamin nutrition from the field, from the plants and the fruits and the everything that the herbs that God made out there. The processed food, well, I don't eat processed food because I understand what it does. But at the end of the day, as I said the other day to, I don't know if it's you or someone else, look how fast food popping up in Trinidad now. Look how much of them. All of a sudden, and he says corridor is laden with these things on them, and you see nobody, no health minister, no leader, nobody come out and say, people, you need to not eat these things. Nobody is saying it, you know. So I understand you're going against the big, what is called it, big mafia, big farm, and all of that. But you know what? I'm fearless in talking the truth because, as you rightly say, God give you a talent, and if you find that talent and that purpose, you believe is to help people. Just I believe my purpose is to spread the message and guide people to the right path when coming to your overall wellness. Then I say them without fear, a contradiction to whatever people think or what they're trying to do to me. Because you know what? Somebody had to say it, and some people had to really step up and say, you know what? I am doing it. I'm sending that message out there without fear. And that is why, you know, I really admire Dr. Navarro because he's fearless in what he does. And I mean, I love him too much because that's what we need out there. Just like yourself, you know, I can tell you're fearless in what you're doing because you believe, not just believe, you actually know and see and you're practicing it that is really helping people. So you have a right to be fearless. Yes?
Well, Victor, I'll tell you what. Okay, I suppose this is a conversation that could go into so many different directions.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, let me just highlight something here. It is not in the government's best interest to have a healthy population.
Correct, my brother.
A healthy population makes wise choices. A healthy population is empowered to stand up against tyranny. A healthy population has strong resolve. All right? Their wills, they have powerful wills. A healthy population does not put a lot of money in the pockets of the fast food conglomerates.
Correct, my brother.
A healthy population will not be using all of the drugs that are being prescribed. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't even find them at the doctor's office. All right? So in other words, the medical association makes no money from healthy people. The medical association is friends with the fast food franchise. They are friends with the government. They are friends with, how should I say it? There's a small circle at the top made up of all of the rich people that own all of the businesses, that owns the pharmaceutical industry, that owns the government, and you are the one that's actually keeping them rich. Because what they are doing is they are manipulating your life and your health. They're manipulating your time. Okay? They would make you work for 60 years. And then when you are finally to the point whereby you resign, you get barely enough money to spend or to try to regain your health that you have lost over the last 60 years. So really and truly, at the end of the day, the only one that loses is you.
Correct.
You lose your time, you lose your health. In the process, you probably lose your family.
Yes.
All right? You would probably lose your will to live. Okay? You lose everything. And then finally, I am 60 years old, I can finally resign, but you have no health to enjoy your resignation. And now all of the money that you have, if you get severance, all of the money that you have left, you are now spending that at the doctor's office trying to get health. It's really a sad story at the end of the day. And what is also happening is that we are so well trained that we don't even recognize that we are playing right into their handbook. Okay, Victor, I want to just say something here. All right. And sometimes I try to get people to see this. Some see it, and others look at me as if, okay, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Okay? All right. Let's talk a little bit about Sahara dust. Okay?
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about that. So,
Yeah.
Sahara dust, there's a phenomena that started in 2020 that never happened before. And ever since 2020, it has never stopped. In the year 2020, just about when the COVID vaccine rolled out, we started experiencing a phenomena where you have all of these cloudy mountains, and they call it Sahara dust. For the first time in 2020, we experienced Sahara dust in the rainy season. Before that, we only experienced Sahara dust probably maybe 1 month in the entire year, coming down to the end of the dry season when things were at its driest.
Yes.
But now we are seeing Sahara dust in the rainy season. My question is, where does the dust come from? Number one, because as far as I understand, it can't come from the Sahara because the Sahara is sand, not dust. You understand where I'm coming from, Victor?
Yeah. I
Number two.
listen.
Number two, even if there was dust in the Sahara, how does it make it across the Atlantic in all of that moisture? Number three, when it finally reaches our shore in Trinidad, how could it stay in the atmosphere for 3 days without settling? Because certainly you don't find it on your cars, you don't find it on the trees, you don't find it in your home. This is the strangest dust ever. And after 3 days, it just disappears, and nobody knows where it went because it certainly didn't settle anywhere. All right? Number four, it is the first time in the history of dust that this very special dust could survive heavy rainfall.
Yeah.
All right? We can have 3 days of constant rain, and on the fourth day, the mountain is still smoggy. And the government puts out a warning of bad air quality.
And that's it.
How is
That's
this
all it
dust?
is.
How is this dust surviving moisture? Why is it not settling on anything? Now, nobody can answer that question. The only thing that behaves like that is not dust. But let me just say, from my experience, it's quite possible that we're looking at aerosol.
Oh.
Also, I just want to say something. You would recognize from 2020 till present, we have an upsurge of pretty much almost every disease.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it is that we are not paying attention to this, you're going to miss it quite easily. And we might pass it off as a natural phenomena. But the reality is, we have evidence to show that from 2020 onward, something's been happening and it's not good.
It's never good.
It's not good. If it is that we do not, as a people, wake up, we're going to find ourselves in a situation and we are still not going to be able to connect the dots. But I say, and this is just my opinion, I say that our health is under attack. Our health is under attack. And if it is that we do not start making informed decisions, we're going to lose our health, our life, our family,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of sad days to come. There's a lot of sad days to come. All right. I mean, that's unfortunate, but I think based on what we can see before us, I don't think anybody could call me a conspiracy theorist if you seriously sit down and consider the facts that is before you.
Yeah.
You know, but Victor, we are
Well,
in for a rough one.
well, I believe you because again, you see, we are people that once it in, we just say once it affected me, I don't care, and and then we tend to believe the powers that be, right? They call it like for instance, the dust you talking about there. They call it Sarah dust, and they say it's safe, and everybody just run with that. You understand, right? Just like 2021 with this whole COVID thing. They say do this, do that. Everybody just decide to do it, right? Take an injection, everybody do it. Wear a mask, everybody do it. Nobody just sign up and say why. Nobody ask question why. What is the proof? And that's the problem, right? That's why people like me they were called as one of the rebels because I didn't take that choke. Nobody choking me, right? I was one of those, and I'm proud today to say, hey, my body clean from that poison. I'm not the one who took that, right? So the thing about it is, we grew up in this society that we believe that the people that we put in place have our best interests at heart. You know that, right? And that's where we gone wrong, and that's why I agree with you when you say we're up for a rough ride because we see things in front of our eyes, but we ain't believing it because the people who we put there, whoever it may be, saying, "Nah, don't worry about yourself. That's okay. You could eat that. You could drink that." And the mass majority of the population go in that direction, right? When last you saw an ad on any billboard or on TV saying, "Hey, do eat processed food or cut down on the fried chicken or the burgers," right? No, nobody is saying that, and nobody brave enough to say it. Who do really own these businesses and them, and you see the parents eating it, pass it on to the children, so the children become adults, and as I often say, I believe it's a generation of bad eating habits because nobody
Correct.
nobody breaks the curse. That's my belief. That's my belief. So
Correct.
people say, well,
You,
yeah,
you are correct. 10 points.
yeah,
All right.
right, yeah, because when they say, well, my grandmother had it, diabetes, and my father had it, and my mother had it, so you know what? All right, I'm wishing fit, right? Check the lifestyle, right? The foods are different, and we going down that road. But I'm talking about this present generation, not like my parents and your parents and parents, right? This generation, the last, you know, 2 centuries, right? The end of the day, everything gone crazy, everything gone crazy. As far as tea, as far as food, as far as drink, everything is not geared to. When I tell the people, hey, like friends, like, I do eat this, I do eat that, I do eat this and that. I say, boy, what you just eat, boy, you don't eat nuts. It's not a matter of that. It's a matter of what I see out there is just poison. You understand? And I rather starve and eat what I believe is the least of the evil than to eat what I have out there. And people are maintaining that
Correct.
because we enriching these people and them, we fatten in their pocket, right? They're actually stabbing in our heart and we enriching them, we fatten in their pocket, right? And we drinking poison, we eating poison, and we actually get them rich, right? And when the time comes, and one of the things I see on the rise now, private hospital. They're
Yeah.
popping up a private
Correct.
hospital, right? It's strange because our government hospital, what, three or four of them, east, west, north, south, has stayed the same for since I probably before I born. And the amount of private hospital that opened in the last 20 years, and I see one building right now again. And then when you go to the public hospital, the same doctor they tell you, hey, I can see with it, I can deal with this, but come across now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
80,000, 80,000, 75,000. And if you have it, well, just die, right? So the education is what we really need to continue to do, right? I know for some reason when you speak the way you and I are speaking, and I experienced it on the platform as I told you already, a certain platform, foreign platform, right? Last conversation I had with Dr. Navarro, I saw what happened, and this probably one of be a third strike. And you know what? It's okay because I know we are preaching the right thing, and somebody will look at it and it will help somebody realize, you know what they're saying is true, because I've been taking this pill for 5 years and I haven't seen no improvement. All I'm doing is maintaining a disease. All people do is maintaining a disease. And I
Correct.
told someone one the other day, I say, when last you all went by the doctor and they actually give you a pill that can stop whichever lifestyle disease you have. A pill to stop. They don't have any. And you said at the beginning of this podcast, they don't have it, right? They'll give you a pill, take one every day, 3 times a day, and that's it, turn the back, right? And then what happened next? And now, jumping on board now, the insurance company now taking out critical illness plan, right?
Correct.
So say, you know what? When you don't manage it, you're going to need money now to do this operation because we know you ain't going to cure it. Take out this plan for you and the family. Every month you pay $300, $400, $500. And so when they get, I told somebody here today, I say the critical illness plan is actually preparing for your illness up front, That is my view. So when you get a critical illness plan, you telling yourself you're going to get sick down the road. The power of your tongue, the power of your mind. You telling yourself, you know what? I take this plan for down the road. And for something going to
they're actually preparing you psychologically to be sick.
Yes. Because you believe you'll get sick, so I'm paying for down the road. And I said,
Exactly.
There's a plan B. That's you're actually telling yourself, hey, get sick down the road. I have a plan in place already to pay the doctor the 80, the 90, 100,000 for the heart surgery. So I can eat what I want now. I can eat processed food. I can I could cook with the canola oil, atriclovin oil. I can do that because,
It basically gives you license to now be careless.
Exactly. I like that. You're correct. You call it right. Yes, to give you a license to be careless. And most of us, be real, most of our Trinidadian, that's the life we live. You know that. A Friday evening,
That's true.
East West Corridor, you'll see the business, the bars them full, the same restaurants and them, the same fast food full. And every single day, cars pack up, bumper to bumper, the drive-through, it's like traffic jam.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I see that every day. Every day I go to work, I see that every single day. So I like the word license to kill. And I've taken that caption to put on a video. I had to find the right image to put on that. And, I like it, license to kill, because it's killing us out. And it's sad because I've met people who cry and they want to live long. I see you mentioned something about retirement. And I work in a company, right? A big company. And I have seen people who I met there retire. And those who make it to that 60, they make 5 years after,
Yeah,
I'll be honest
that's
with
it.
You're correct when you said that.
Yeah.
Because we run into
drain.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. They basically drain all of your youth.
Yes.
And then when your youth is over, they spit out the husk and they tell you go enjoy life now.
Yes.
But they have already taken everything from you.
Correct.
And we have been trained to believe that is success.
Yes.
Okay. So we are actually we are actually living life backwards. Okay, because we actually believe that is success. All right, when we spent our entire life and given all of our energy, sometimes to just one company, the owners of that company becomes filthy rich and then gives you pocket change at the end and tell you, okay, now you could go enjoy life. The reality is they want to get rid of you because you are no longer as energetic as you were. Now they're looking for somebody else to start that entire process again,
Yes.
drain everything, and then when you are nothing, nothing, more than husk, you basically get, spit out.
Just
And
spit you
I
out.
mean, that is really unfortunate. Vic, you mentioned poison.
Yeah.
They're basically poisoning us. Do you know that while this globe, while this world was busy looking at Messi and Mbappe scoring goals for the World Cup, Bayer, who owns Monsanto, actually got a landmark ruling in the federal court where the citizens could no longer sue them if it is that anybody gets cancer as a result of the use of Roundup, because there's an ingredient in there called glyphosate, extremely deadly poison that is carcinogenic, that has already been proven to cause cancer. The federal court actually gave them immunity on June 25th. That if their chemical, if their poison causes any damage to any citizen, that citizen cannot sue them.
Wow.
Now, think about it. If they can win such a victory in court, could you imagine what that now empowers them to do?
Yep.
They can basically poison our foods,
Yes.
and we have absolutely no recourse. So you know that keeping that in mind, when you see the level of evil that is being fed out to the general public, if that doesn't wake us up, I think the only time we're going to wake up is to realize that here what's going on, it's too late.
Yes. I agree with you, my brother.
Because what they basically do is they distract us on one side while they are doing damage on the other side.
Yeah.
And hence the reason why in this country, I don't take politics seriously.
Me too.
Because what I see is a lot of distraction. And wherever there's distraction, it means that there's something that is taking place behind the scene.
And it's always not good.
And it's always not good.
Yeah.
All right? We as a people need to understand that our health is our responsibility. We cannot depend on a government to take care of us thinking that they have our best interests at heart, because they don't.
Any government, I agree with you.
According to all of the evidence that we have before us, they don't.
They don't.
They don't. All right? When you have a government that lies openly, and when I said lie openly, I'm talking about, and let's get one thing straight here, Victor. I am not political. I am not PNM, and I am not UNC. I have seen the PNM government, all right, lied blatantly. And I am now seeing the UNC government lying blatantly. When you have a government that lies to you, what is it going to take for you to trust them?
Yeah. I hear you.
All right?
No, I hear
No,
you.
that is pretty much the end of the road. All right? Because okay, so I'm married. If I am living with my wife And my wife is continually lying to me. And then one day I found out that for the last 10 years I've been living a lie. Do you think it's time to have a discussion?
No,
I don't think so.
no.
I don't think so. I think it's time to actually
Pack
stand
your
up
bag.
and pack my bag. All right?
Yeah.
Yes, because you're talking about 10 years of continuous lies. And on top of that, she was able to successfully deceive me for 10 years. Should I really take a chance of saying, well, all right, if she says from now on, I'm not going to do that anymore, could I take that wholesale and say, well, okay, I can take that to the bank? No, I can't. All
You
right?
can't.
But you have a
Yeah.
government that will say one thing and do another. And guess what? We still have people that believe that the government has our best interests at heart. Now, again, I don't want to make this political or anything like that, but I suppose you are actually looking at the facts of life here. You call it whatever you want, but when you examine the evidence, it does highlight that, hey, here's what's happening. All right? This constitutes a problem that is bigger than me. All right?
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Listen to this.
say this, Harold. Mhm.
Yeah.
I of-
Go
before-
ahead.
Keep your thought. I often say this, Harold, on my programs. I tell people that our health, right, is our responsibility and our responsibility only. Don't put it in the hands of nobody else, especially government, any government, right?
Correct.
And this is our body is the only vehicle that the good God give us to take us from point A to point B. And the possibility of reaching down the road at a later stage in life is deciding what we do now. You understand? And it's put it in terms like this so people could understand that, you know what, this is it. Because you could have most people go around life and they tell themselves, I want more money, I want to get a better car, I want a house and this and that. I have this problem, that problem. We have thousands of problems when we feel that we're okay. But the minute we get sickness, we only concern is to get better. We have one problem. Look at people who have all kind of money. We have people, millionaires, all are actors, everybody popular. As soon as they get one sickness, one thing they want to do, they study the money again to buy the house. They study the money to buy the fancy car. They studying nothing. They studying the trend and you see. You know what they studying? To get better. So the things that we
To get
put in front
better.
of our health, the things that we put in front of our health as a people is the things that doesn't really matter. Because without health, all the money they have can help you. And I'm sure in your practice, you met a lot of people who have money, one or two people who fully wealthy, and the stage of the illness that they have is too late, just like Steve Jobs, right?
That is
All
correct.
all the money in the world couldn't save him. And the good thing about him, he left something behind to remind people, hey, I went down this road, don't go down this road, right? And still, the 95% of the world population ignored messages like that. Because you know what? The brainwash is bigger than just one man, right? The brainwash is going on since as I say, since Moses was a boy, as they say, right? To counterattack you had to say, you know what? You see what you did, and people like me and certain other people, something in this isn't working. See the example you give with your wife, just now? We had to break it down like that for them. You understand? This isn't working. You know what? When by the doctor, I listen to these people with power and telling you, go left, and somehow this isn't working. Left and seem the way to go. Right looking, my common sense tell me go right. But we so believe in other people, right? And I'll tell you why too. If you buy a new car today, men particularly, buy a new car today, the dealer telling you every 5,000 kilometers or 3 months, go and change your oil, go and do it again. Watch me. Man, do it religiously, yeah? And there's a vehicle that can't even compare to one life. And you telling them, hey, you need to cut back on this. They're telling, boy, watch out, man, it's hard. Watch me. It have men I know personally treat the car better than themselves. They treat the dog better than because every week they kind of dog vet, right? And I will continue to speak the way that I'm speaking because you know what? Some of them had to hear it. right? Because like stick bricklayers, because as you rightfully say, Bong, some people need heat and who are the money. Because some of them live the life recklessly, but they're drinking too much, they're liming too much, they everything too much. And when they realize that, hey, they have nothing now and they get sick and they hear, but wait now, this man don't be healing people naturally, whatever. They have no money to give again because they spend it on the wrong side of life. You understand?
Correct.
What you put in is what you get out. You know? That's how life is. What you put in is what you get out. You can go to the ATM, don't have an account, get a bank card, that's going to and expect money. It doesn't work like that. What you put in is what you get out. Simple as that.
Correct.
Nobody put diesel in a gas engine. Why? Because they know if you put diesel gas in an engine, right? But
True.
look what we do to our body. Look what people doing to our body. So I just speak it bold, my brother, and as I said, we have to become a little more aggressive. People like myself who are out there, because what I'm doing on social media and everything else, the magazine and symposium, nobody ain't doing it. Nobody ain't saying, let's say, boy, you doing this, you're making no money, nah. But it's okay because you know what? Just as you, this is my purpose to spread the message. If I can save one in every 100 person to change their lifestyle, I gotta know. If every 100 I save one,
True.
I'm okay. If I get five, I take it. But if I get one, I'm fine. And everything else that you mentioned there. But with these people in power, I believe that, I live that. I don't take them on. That's why when 2020, 29 with this vaccine thing, all they too loving, to give me the injection for free and come and we love all you. Let's save your life. No, I say don't go on. No government before so loving and so kind. I want to keep that. I want to keep that. You understand? And they brainwash
That's
the whole
right.
world. They brainwash the whole world, right? Even people of faith, they brainwash too.
That is true.
Yeah, I'm telling
You
you.
know, Victor, on the topic of, when people indicate that eating healthy is expensive, that, first of all, that's misinformation to the highest degree. All right. Let me just say something here. Eating healthy can be one of the cheapest things that you have ever experienced. But that is if you do it right. Too many people think that eating healthy is being able to afford all of the processed meat and, the veggie meat, as they call it, the veggie
Yeah.
cheese, this, that. No, to be
Yeah.
honest, these are the type of thing that's basically killing us. All right? And we are paying a lot of money for that. Eating
Yeah.
healthy really and truly requires more knowledge than money. Okay? It requires more knowledge than money. Okay? If you remember, I told you just about a week ago that I have this little lady who suffers from breast cancer. Okay?
Yeah.
And her neighbor, he's a student of mine. And he called me up and he told me, hey, listen, Mr. Diaz, I want you to see how you could help this lady. Now, she started off, or at least when I started working with her, she lives about 20 minutes away from a shop. There are 3 trees that along the side of the road from her home to the shop. She got to the point where when she's walking to the shop, she has to time those trees in order to get some shade from the sun.
Yeah.
Because what she described was, as long as she is walking in the sun, she feels as if her energy is being drained. And if she doesn't make it to the shade of the tree before her energy drains, she thinks that she would probably stay right there and maybe die. This is how bad it was for her. And whenever she's making the journey to the shop, she has to prepare herself mentally for that trip.
Yeah.
Her energy level was that bad. She had a cancerous tumor about the size of an apple. She had stress like crazy. She's not working. She's unemployed. She have a little garden, and she tries to sometimes make a little money from the garden.
Yeah.
But she was not able to go to the garden because her energy levels wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
And I visited her. I had her sit down, and we had a nice discussion. And I said to her, if you will do what I'm saying to you, then there's a good chance that you will recover.
Yeah.
But that is if you are honest and you do as I tell you.
Yeah.
There is a good chance by God's grace that you will recover. And she gave me her commitment. She gave me her word. Whatever you tell me to do, Mr. Diaz, I will do. And she says, but that will depend on whether or not I could afford it. And I said to her, we haven't discussed finances, and I have done that deliberately because you are not going to pay what you cannot. And my deal with her was, whatever you could contribute, you do that. And I will ensure that I give you all of my attention. And we had an agreement there. Within the first 2 weeks, her energy levels started to spike. Within the first 2 months, she was no longer afraid to leave home to walk to the shop and back.
Them trees didn't matter.
She eventually stopped making trips to the shop when she recognized that the stuff in the shop she can't eat.
Ah.
And she started eating solely from her garden, which by that time she had already started to maintain again.
Yeah, yeah.
Within 2 weeks, the tumor, which was the size of an apple, actually went down to about half the size.
Ooh, wow. That's amazing though.
I've been treating her now for about almost 6 months. The tumor has almost completely disappeared.
Wow.
She has no job. She has no money. But yet, she is recovering. Now, based on that testimony, do you really think that cancer really requires all that money?
Hell no. That's what I will say. Hell no. And
She doesn't. She doesn't have money. According to the message that society sends, she is left for dead.
yes.
She is not supposed to be able to recover. But yet, by God's grace, we see something different happening.
Yep.
All right? Today, at the clinic, another one of those little ladies came and mentioned to me, all right, she says, the tumor is shrinking. Okay? Now the reality is, she's using some stuff that she never paid for. Because again, she did not have the money.
Yeah.
I prepared it and I gave it to her anyway.
God is good.
Now, at the end of the day, the reality is the time is going to come, all right, when by God's grace, Father will say, hey, it's time for you to come.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to have that conversation with God where I have to answer to Him as to what did you do with the talents that I gave you. I want that question to be answered long before my time is up.
Thank God for that, my brother. And I really adore you and admire you for the words. And this is the kind of people, in spite of the healing and the medicine and all of that was good. I will call it healing with a purpose, right? Healing with a purpose. And you will, because of he is a man of God, and you understand, we all have a purpose, and it's to find it and use it as a gift to help others and to do good. And that's what I believe as well. That's what I try to do, right? The other side of the fence is a business, right? And yes, we all know we need money and all that, and that's fine. But if you put money before healing, right, then something wrong. And I know this topic could go far, because I mean, nowhere I see, I will say this before we close. Nowhere in the New Testament, as I always say, I'm not a scholar, but for what I read, I didn't see Jesus take no money for doing all the miracles and healing people. I mean, I missed that verse probably, right? I didn't see any, right?
It's it's not there.
Right. But I admire you. And that lady that you mentioned there, there's a testimony that could only add value to what you do and what you continue to do. And we definitely going to meet up. And as I said before, I would love to have a conversation interview with that woman. She don't have to show her face if she don't want to. Not, I mean, I actually go in person to talk to her. You understand? I don't care where she is. I don't care where she is. I come in and I go bring myself and I'll bring, two of my team members to really, they could tape it and thing. And just sit down, have an open conversation, probably drink some herbal tea, you know what I mean? And just have a conversation.
That's not a problem, man.
Right, it's conversation like that. The lost persons, the lost people in this society want to hear, because cancer is a different topic. You and I had to come back and talk, but that is a different topic, right? Because people suffer with that. I know people right now who had that, right? And again, the first thing go to their mind: surgery, money, debt, no hope. Those are the kind of, because that's the message, that information is given to them by the people who are supposed to help them. As you know, that is true, right?
That is
true.
You know what?
So I'm going to reach out to you again, definitely, to have a face-to-face with that lady and yourself, and let people see the kind of work that you all doing. I know the kind of work Dr. Navarro doing. People may not just, they will get healed and they will keep it to themselves or whatever. But I think the time has come now and is here whereby the people who are doing good, they need to be seen and recognized for the good that they're doing, because the other side of the fence, is loud, but it's not effective, right? Your side of the fence is quiet, but it's effective. You understand? So with my platform, would speak up healing and a natural way, and information that will go to help the household. That's why I go to communities, because that's where the sick people are, and there's the people who can't afford certain things. That's where they are, right? So what I will do, Harold, is that we definitely going to meet up soon, to your timing, because I will make the time, and I'll find wherever you are, I'll pick you up, we'll meet you wherever you choose to go, and we'll talk to the lady. And I would like to have, because let me say this: my mother died from cancer. I have two brothers died from cancer. Right? So someone had said, I'm saying this before I leave. Someone had said, "Well, boy, it's in your family." I said, I rebuke that statement, because that statement is me accepting, right, the lifestyle that they live, to bring that on them with all the knowledge that they have, what I have now, talking to you and people like yourself, right? So I can't change the past, right? I can't change the past, but I'm doing what I'm doing to help others to know that, hey, there's people like you, and there's a better way than the way that my mother went, the route that she went, the route that my brothers them went, right? And that's why I heavily and so deep into wellness and fitness, because I said, you know what, that stopped with me. I rebuke that in Jesus' name, that generational curse or whatever we'll call it, right? So my passion, my drive is not for fame or fortune. It's really to educate people and to let them know, you know what, I am just talking this. I have people who die from cancer. I had two sisters who lost toe and toes based on diabetes. So, and I talk to them already, just in listening, they're brainwashed already. Big sisters. I talk to them. So I am not just talking out of just my mouth. I living with this family, doing this and talking to them, but it's hard because they brainwashed. They still believe in, you know, the pill and this and that, even though they see what I'm doing out there, right? But I, you know, and just guide them, talk to them still. But the most I can do is talk and guide them, and if they listen, well, it's fine, right? But Harold, boy, I mean, this conversation has been fruitful. It's one of my better interviews based on the conversation, and you know, any conversation to me that have Jesus in it, anybody brings up, that's me, because Jesus is my King, and I'm saying out loud, right? That's my King, and if God is not the center of your life, people seem to in the world ashamed to say that, and I'm very bold in saying Jesus is my King, and I might know the Bible or some. I know off topic here, but I've compelled to say it in my spirit to say it because you actually brought it to the podcast, and you know, and I'm thank you for that, because you know I learned from people like yourself, and again I feel it in my spirit that hey, you were sent to really not just for the podcast in the sense of the herbal part of it, but you know, the spiritual part of it as well, right? And that's really important for me personally. And I just want to thank you for that part, and then the herbal part of it. You know, we are going to do good things together based on what I'm seeing and hearing, and I'll reach out to you to go and talk to the lady and really let the story go out there. You understand? So Harold, before we go, I mean, the floor is yours to say what in closing, you know, anything you feel like you want to say.
Well, it definitely, it was a pleasure being here, tonight. I mean, tonight, basically, we basically scratched the surface. There's so much more that could be said. And in due time, by God's grace, I have faith that it would be said.
Definitely.
I pray that, this podcast definitely, God would bless it, that you would move forward without fear or favor. And that, by His grace, that this can be an extension to His work, a catalyst to really, take the word forward where, people can benefit greatly, from saving information, So it was really wonderful being here tonight. I do look forward to, working with you in the future, and to be able to really use this as a springboard, to being able to help folks out there to better understand the importance of health, as well as that they may understand that health is within reach. Health isn't no far away place that could only be accessed by the rich. All right.
Well said.
Yeah, because if that's the case, well, then God is unfair. All right.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that God is not unfair.
Correct, is right.
Again, sometimes we do perish due to lack of knowledge, but by God's grace, again, I pray that this podcast will be a catalyst to, again, put that knowledge out there. All right. So thank you so very much. I really appreciate it, Victor.
And thank you, Harold. for making the time. And yes, we're going to do this again because Dr. Navarro had him twice, right? So I'm going to bring you on board because, again, in a conversation like this, is just flow. And that's why the podcast is not scripted because, I like to talk to people with passion and purpose, just like myself, right? And I can tell you have passion, purpose, and you have a big spirit behind you, right? And that's great. And we're definitely going to meet up again. I'll contact you. We will keep in touch. We have a lot to do together because we'll go to communities together based on what I do. And I know finishing up my 7 magazine to almost here. I will keep you posted with that. And the next one will come at the end of the year. I would like to have some of the work that you do on that magazine. All right, we will meet up and we will definitely see how we can continue the work that we're doing separately together in order to bring healing in information and in prayers and in practice into our nation, to our people. Yeah.
Amen.
So thank
Wonderful.
you. Have a blessed night, Harold. You and your family. God keep you safe, and we'll keep up. We'll keep in touch. Yeah.
Wonderful, Victor. Same to you.
All right. Yeah.